It was an enchanting, sun-drenched summer day, and the Appleton family had gathered on the patio. Craig, the patriarch, sat in the shade of the gazebo, dressed in a robe with a black bandage covering his eyes. He sipped his coffee, while his wife, Diana, lounged on a chair, basking in the sun with a cocktail in hand, her flawless figure and impeccable beauty on full display. Her long, doll-like eyelashes fluttered as she scolded her stepdaughter, Lisa, a lively 7-year-old chasing a butterfly around the pool with a net. "Lisa, stop running. Calm down. Can you play quietly for at least 5 minutes, you naughty child?" If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Lisa was an energetic and adorable girl with curly brown hair and chubby cheeks, resembling a little angel. She had long become accustomed to her stepmother's lack of affection, so the scolding didn't faze her. A magnificent butterfly with vibrant wings landed on the pool's edge, and Lisa carefully pulled out her phone to take a picture. As she approached the pool, she stumbled and fell head over heels into the water. Panicking, Lisa screamed and flailed, unable to swim well. "Daddy, Daddy, I'm drowning. Help me." Craig, blind and disoriented, staggered towards the pool, desperately reaching out. He called to his wife for help. "Diana, can't you hear? Help Lisa. I can't see anything." "Where am I going but Diana?" Without even getting up from her lounger, protested. "You little brat, I told you to sit quietly. This will teach you a lesson. Stop shouting, swim to the edge and climb out." Gardener Peter, hearing Lisa's cries, abandoned his lawnmower and sprinted to the pool. He dove in and quickly pulled Lisa from the water. She rushed to her father, clinging to him in fright, sobbing, "Daddy, I was so scared. I just wanted to take a picture of a butterfly. My phone drowned. I didn't mean to." Craig comforted her. "It's okay, sweetie. We'll get you a new one. The important thing is that you're safe. Go change your clothes, but please be more careful. The tiles are slippery. Don't scare Daddy like that." Diana, seething with anger, lashed out. "What a weakling you are. You should have punished her for disobeying. She almost drowned and ruined an expensive item. All you do is spoil her, and she's gone completely crazy. When are you going to find a nanny for your daughter? I can't deal with her. She's spoiled and unbearable." Craig sharply rebuked her. "How dare you? She almost drowned, and instead of helping, you sat there." "Thanks to Peter, Lisa is safe. She's just a child who lost her mother. I love her very much, and you need to accept that if you want to be with me. Do you think if you have your child, they won't misbehave? And yes, I will find a nanny. I've already placed an ad, but you see I'm blind now, so it's difficult." Realizing she had gone too far, Diana quickly backtracked. "Don't be angry, dear. I love you very much, you know that. But I can't be tied to Lisa all day. I have training, fitness, massages, and beauty appointments. And now your business and your daughter are on me. So hurry up and find a nanny. It will make life easier for all of us. Anyway, I have to go. I have a manicure at 12 and a massage at 2. Love you. Don't miss me too much." Lisa, happy that her stepmother was leaving, quietly sat next to her father, hugging him with her little hands. "I'm sorry, Daddy, I didn't mean to. Why is Diana so mean? She doesn't love me, and you just don't notice it. I miss my loving mommy so much." Craig sighed, hugging his little girl. "I miss her too, my little one. She was the best, but you know she's in heaven now. And Diana is not so bad. You're just not used to each other yet, but I promise you'll choose the nanny yourself. By the way, another candidate should be coming soon." Lisa kissed her father on the cheek and ran off to play with her dolls in the yard, while Craig closed his eyes in pain, reminiscing about his life. His first wife, Vanessa, was beautiful and an excellent housewife. She came from a decent family and, most importantly, loved Craig deeply. They were supposed to live happily ever after, but fate had other plans. 2 years ago, she succumbed to a serious genetic illness which began after childbirth. Her vision deteriorated first, then her memory, followed by the loss of use of her limbs. Vanessa became bedridden and gradually faded away. It was heart-wrenching to watch a vibrant, young woman become helpless, and Craig was devastated because no amount of money or medicine could save her. After Vanessa's heartbreaking funeral, their daughter Lisa withdrew into a world of tears, mourning her mother deeply. She would spend hours in her room, clutching her mother's photo, her tiny shoulders shaking with sobs that echoed through the empty house. Craig, shattered by the loss, believed he could never share his life with anyone else. Vanessa had been his rock, his soulmate, and now she was gone, leaving a void that seemed impossible to fill. However, fate had other plans. One evening, during a business dinner at a fancy restaurant, Craig noticed Diana. She sat with a friend, sipping martinis, and her laughter was contagious. She exuded an aura of confidence and vitality that drew everyone's attention. The dinner gradually turned into a lively event with dancing, and as the night progressed, Craig found himself in a slow dance with Diana. Her touch was electric, and he was captivated by her youthful allure and irresistible charm. This encounter blossomed into a whirlwind romance, culminating in a swift marriage that left everyone, including Craig, a little breathless. Diana quickly established herself as the lady of the house, commanding everyone with confidence and an air of authority. She had a way of making her presence felt, and soon everyone was looking to her for direction. However, her relationship with Lisa was strained from the start. The little girl, still grieving for her mother, found it hard to accept Diana's sudden intrusion into their lives. The mutual dislike between stepmother and stepdaughter simmered just below the surface, occasionally erupting into open hostility. Craig initially thought Lisa's hostility was simply jealousy that would fade over time. He believed that with patience and understanding, the two would eventually find common ground. Yet even after 2 years, the tension persisted. The stepmother and stepdaughter were at constant odds, and their confrontations became a regular part of daily life. Each clash left Craig feeling more helpless and torn between his love for his daughter and his new wife. Then, 2 weeks ago, a dreadful incident occurred that brought the underlying tensions to a head. Tim, their driver, had requested some personal time off, forcing Craig to drive himself. After working late one evening, as he approached his car in the parking lot, he was ambushed by 3 assailants. The attack was brutal and sudden. Craig fought back with all his strength, but one of the attackers sprayed pepper spray directly into his eyes. The burning sensation was excruciating, blinding him instantly. Fortunately, a nearby patrol car scared off the attackers, but the damage to Craig's eyes was severe. He was left nearly blind, his vision a blur, requiring black sunglasses or a blindfold while undergoing intensive treatment. The doctors warned that if the medication failed, surgery might be necessary to restore his sight. This uncertainty left Craig incredibly anxious. He was confined to managing his business from home, relying on phone calls and online meetings to keep his company running. It was a frustrating and disorienting experience for someone used to being in control. What irked him most was not knowing who harbored such malice against him. He had no recent sharp conflicts that could explain the attack. Surprisingly, Diana immersed herself into the business, diving in headfirst. She took on responsibilities with gusto, learning quickly and making decisions that impressed Craig. Yet, her involvement also meant she had less time for Lisa, further straining their already tenuous relationship. One afternoon, as Craig sat in his study, lost in thought, he was interrupted by a pleasant voice. "Good afternoon, Mr. Appleton. My name is Carol. I'm here for the nanny position. My interview is scheduled for noon." Craig smiled, unable to see her but sensing a kind presence. He began the interview. "Carol, how old are you? Do you have extensive experience with children? Can you provide references from previous jobs? What is your educational background?" I love my daughter dearly and want only the best for her." Carol sighed softly. "I might not meet all your expectations. I don't have formal references, but I adore children and am willing to work for a modest salary. I've already met Lisa. She's a wonderful girl, and I promise to be there for her always, teaching and caring for her." Sensing his father's hesitation, Lisa dashed over, beaming at Carol. "Daddy, I like Carol. You said I could choose the nanny, remember?" Craig weighed his options. "She's only 23, no experience, no recommendations. Who knows what she's like? But her voice is so reassuring and Lisa likes her, which is a first. All right, Carol, you're hired. But on a trial basis. You start immediately. There's a schedule in Lisa's room. You'll need to take her to dance and art classes, help with homework, ensure she eats well, and update me on any health changes. Is that clear?" Carol's eyes welled with joy. She desperately needed this job. "Thank you, Mr. Appleton. I promise you won't regret it." "I'll do my very best." From that day, Carol became a beloved member of the Appleton family. She excelled in her duties, and Lisa adored her. Carol never scolded or pressured her. Instead, they became close friends. If Lisa ever slacked off, Carol cleverly turned it into a fun competition. "All right, whoever finishes the task better and faster gets the biggest, most delicious vanilla ice cream. The loser eats oatmeal for 2 days. I hate oatmeal, don't you?" Craig was thrilled with the new arrangement. Lisa was doing well academically and emotionally. Every evening, she excitedly shared stories about Carol teaching her new hairstyles or macrame techniques. However, Diana wasn't pleased. She constantly muttered, "You picked a strange nanny for Lisa. She's young and inexperienced, and she spoils Lisa even more than you do. What kind of upbringing is that? Be stricter, or Lisa will become uncontrollable. She ignores me now. Before, she at least got angry. But now she just leaves and goes to Carol." Craig chuckled and responded, "You're never satisfied, dear. No nanny pleases you, and having one doesn't either. If Lisa is rude, you dislike it. If she's quiet, you're unhappy. Maybe you need to try connecting with her." Diana pursed her lips and reluctantly fell silent, thinking, "Fine, do what you want. Just keep that bothersome girl away from me. I'm exhausted from dealing with her." Meanwhile, Craig found solace in the growing bond between Lisa and Carol. The young nanny's presence brought a sense of stability and joy back into their lives. Lisa flourished under Carol's care, excelling in her studies and discovering new hobbies. Carol introduced her to the joys of baking, and soon the kitchen was filled with the delightful aroma of cookies and cakes. They spent hours in the garden, planting flowers and vegetables, their laughter echoing through the yard. As Craig observed these moments, he couldn't help but feel a sense of relief and gratitude. Carol's nurturing presence was exactly what Lisa needed. One evening, as they sat together on the patio, Craig turned to Carol and said, "You've made such a positive impact on Lisa's life. I see her smile again, and that's priceless. Thank you, Carol." Carol smiled warmly, her eyes shining with sincerity. "Mr. Appleton, it's an honor to be part of your family. Lisa is a wonderful child, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here." As the days passed, Carol's influence extended beyond Lisa. She became a calming presence in the household, bringing a sense of harmony that had been missing for so long. Craig found himself looking forward to their conversations, her gentle voice providing comfort and a sense of normalcy in his turbulent world. However, not everyone was thrilled with the new dynamic. Diana's resentment simmered just below the surface, her frustration growing with each passing day. She couldn't understand why Craig and Lisa were so taken with Carol. To her, the young nanny was an interloper, a threat to her position in the family. One evening, after another tense exchange with Craig, Diana retreated to her room, her mind racing. Why can't they see? She's too young, too inexperienced. This can't go on, she muttered to herself. Her thoughts turned dark, as she plotted ways to undermine Carol's position. She began to nitpick, criticizing every little thing Carol did, hoping to drive a wedge between her and the rest of the family. But Carol, with her unwavering patience and genuine affection for Lisa, remained undeterred. She continued to excel in her role, winning over not just Lisa but also the household staff, who admired her dedication and kindness. As the weeks turned into months, Craig's vision slowly improved, thanks to the diligent care of his doctors. The possibility of surgery loomed, but he clung to the hope that the treatment would be enough. He found strength in the unwavering support of his daughter and the quiet resilience of Carol. One sunny afternoon, as Craig sat on the patio, he heard a familiar voice. "Good afternoon, Mr. Appleton. How are you feeling today?" It was Carol, her presence a soothing balm to his troubled soul. "Better, Carol." "Thank you for asking," Craig replied, smiling in her direction. "And how is Lisa today?" "She's doing wonderfully. We just finished her dance lesson, and she's upstairs working on her art project. She wanted to surprise you with something special." Craig's heart swelled with pride and gratitude. "You've done so much for her, Carol. I can never thank you enough." Carol blushed, her humility shining through. "It's my pleasure, Mr. Appleton. Lisa is an amazing child, and it's an honor to be part of her life." As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the garden, Craig felt a sense of peace that had eluded him for so long. Despite the challenges and the lingering tension with Diana, he knew he had made the right choice. Carol was more than just a nanny, she was a beacon of hope and love in their lives. And so, life at the Appleton household continued, with its ups and downs, its moments of joy and sorrow. But through it all, the bond between Craig, Lisa, and Carol grew stronger, a testament to the power of love and resilience in the face of adversity. Inside the sprawling mansion stood a grand piano, a silent reminder of Craig's days as a musician. Occasionally, a wave of nostalgia would sweep over him, compelling him to play a few cherished melodies. However, one day the sound of Carol and Lisa playing the dog waltz, accompanied by their joyous laughter, nearly made him topple from his chair. Intrigued, Craig approached Carol with a mix of astonishment and curiosity. "Carol, do you play the piano? This is an unexpected delight. I, too, was a musician once. Could you play something else?" "I'd love to hear more." Carol blushed deeply, her cheeks glowing with a mix of pride and modesty. "I'm not particularly skilled," she confessed, "but I had a wonderful music teacher at the orphanage. She believed I had talent and instilled in me a deep love for music, especially this melody. It resonates with my heart." As Carol's fingers glided over the keys, filling the room with a slow, romantic tune, Craig was profoundly moved. He was transported back to his youth, overwhelmed by a flood of memories. Tears streamed down his face, each note stirring his soul, awakening long-forgotten emotions. He kept murmuring to himself, "My God, this can't be real." The melody seemed to hold a magical quality, one that he thought he would never hear again. When Carol finished, Craig, his voice trembling with gratitude and amazement, asked, "Where did you learn this melody? I'm certain it's not recorded anywhere. It was composed by someone I once knew intimately." Carol's performance had not only rekindled his passion for music, but it also connected him to a poignant chapter of his past, leaving him in awe of the serendipitous moment they had just shared. Craig was utterly devastated by what he had just heard. Tears cascaded from his eyes, further aggravating his already sore eyes. Each word he had listened to pierced his heart, and everything lined up perfectly. It was like pieces of a painful puzzle falling into place, and he couldn't believe it could be true. With a voice shaking with emotion, he pleaded, "Carol, I beg you, bring Rachel here tomorrow. I desperately need to see her, or at least hear her voice. You see, we knew each other once, but it's a long story. Just please, do as I ask." The young girl, taken aback and puzzled, nodded hesitantly. "All right, as you wish. I'll come with her tomorrow morning if she's willing, of course." "But how do I explain all this to her?" Craig, his voice breaking with desperation and anguish, replied. "Just tell her that Craig is waiting for her." When Carol came to serve Lisa lunch, Craig secluded himself in his office. He clasped his head in his hands, his mind flooded with memories of his youth and Rachel. Craig had grown up with just his mother, never knowing his father. His mother, a resilient and imaginative woman, had spun enchanting tales of his father being a polar explorer or a geologist. But as Craig grew older, he understood the reality and stopped asking naive questions. From a very young age, Craig had a profound love for music. He could sit for hours, completely absorbed in a favorite melody, losing himself in the harmonious notes. One day, while visiting friends with his mother, 5-year-old Craig sat at a piano and, merely playing the keys, managed to play a simple tune. His mother, recognizing his extraordinary talent, immediately decided to enroll him in music classes, where he met Rachel. Craig vividly remembered the first moment he laid eyes on Rachel. He was struck with awe when he saw the cute, skinny girl with 2 enormous bows in her hair and a sheet music folder clutched tightly in her hands. They were seated at the same desk, and from that moment on, Rachel and Craig became inseparable friends. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and together they embarked on a shared musical journey. They decided to attend music college together, and their partnership flourished. They achieved their first significant successes, performing at various concerts and basking in the joy of their shared passion for music. As the years went by, their childhood friendship blossomed into a deep and genuine love. Rachel was always ethereal and dreamy, living in a world of her own. Material things never mattered much to her. She lived for love and music, paying little attention to the meager earnings of musicians, often scraping by on a tight budget. This starkly contrasted with Craig, who longed for a house of his own, a nice car, stylish clothes, and a comfortable life. After graduating from college, Craig chose not to continue his music education and instead ventured into trading and starting his own business, leading to frequent arguments between the couple. "Craig, what are you doing? Don't abandon music. It's your gift. You're truly talented. Your fingers were made to play, to create," Rachel would plead, her voice filled with concern and love. But Craig, frustrated and feeling the weight of his ambitions, would retort, "Rachel, I don't understand you. You're not living in the real world. Can't you see we're struggling? How can we survive on the few pennies we earn from music? Who even cares about those concerts anymore? I work hard to buy you these gold earrings, to dress you nicely, to ensure we eat well. Any other girl would appreciate that. And you could give private lessons and earn decent money instead of lecturing me on how to live." Deeply hurt, Rachel removed the earrings and hurled them at her fiancé. "Take them back. They mean nothing if you're going to use them against me. Maybe we should part ways. I don't understand you anymore. I don't know why you've changed so much. You've become cold, distant, and heartless. I want a simple, quiet family life. I don't need riches. Loyalty, trust, and love are what matter most to me. And you're obsessed with money. You disappear for days. Your eyes are bloodshot. You've completely given up music. When was the last time you even touched the piano? I won't give private lessons. I won't take money from children." Angrily, Craig waved her off. "Fine, then go. Live your life as you wish, but you'll regret leaving me. I'll become a big businessman." And then you'll see Rachel, with tears streaming down her face, turned and walked away, her heart shattered by the man she once knew and loved. Craig, feeling a mix of anger, regret, and sorrow, watched her leave, realizing too late the depth of his loss. As he sat alone in his office, Craig's mind was consumed by the memories of their happier times. He remembered the countless hours they spent together, the music that brought them joy, and the dreams they once shared. The love they had was pure and beautiful, but his ambitions had driven a wedge between them. The weight of his choices now bore down on him, and he couldn't escape the painful reality of what he had lost. His heart ached with the realization that material wealth could never replace the true richness of love and companionship he had with Rachel. In the solitude of his office, Craig felt the full impact of his decisions. The dreams of success and wealth seemed hollow without Rachel by his side. The memories of their love and the music they created together haunted him, a constant reminder of the happiness he had traded for fleeting material gains. As he looked around his office, filled with symbols of his business achievements, he felt an overwhelming sense of emptiness. The very things he had worked so hard to obtain now seemed meaningless without the one person who truly understood and loved him. Craig's tears continued to flow as he grappled with his emotions. He realized that he had lost sight of what was truly important in life. His ambition had blinded him to the love and support Rachel had offered. Now, all he could do was hope for a chance to make amends, to somehow find a way back to the love they once shared. As he sat there, alone and regretful, Craig vowed to never let material pursuits overshadow the precious gift of love again. So they argued and foolishly broke up without any good reason, letting youthful pride and misunderstandings tear them apart. Craig poured his energy into his career, opening a chain of auto repair shops. He worked tirelessly, day and night, like a squirrel on a wheel, driven by an unrelenting ambition. Amid this whirlwind, he met Vanessa. They married and had a daughter, and his life became consumed with new responsibilities and worries. There was no time to look back. The death of his wife deeply weakened Craig, but eventually he met Rachel again and succumbed to her charms. It wasn't that he didn't love Diana, he did. There were feelings of passion and attachment. But nothing could compare to the unique light and pure feeling of happiness he had experienced with Rachel and their shared love for music. Only now, when he heard that same melody from his youth, composed by Rachel, did his heart constrict with wild longing. He desperately wanted to meet Rachel again, to talk heart to heart. First love, it seems, never truly leaves a person's heart. The anticipation for the next day was almost unbearable. Craig meticulously shaved and got ready early in the morning, eager for Diana to leave for the beauty salon. Her endless chatter about trivial matters drove him to the brink of madness. Carol took Lisa to school and returned home, not alone but with Rachel. Craig could only make out a blurry silhouette. The light scent of her floral perfume and her gentle, bell-like voice had not changed one bit. "Craig, is it you?" Rachel exclaimed. "When Carol told me yesterday that you wanted to meet, I was surprised. You've changed so much. You've become a strong, prominent man. What happened? Why did you want to see me? And why do you have a black bandage over your eyes? Are you sick?" Craig listened to her words, tears streaming down his face. He took Rachel's hand, feeling its softness and delicacy, her long fingers perfectly made for music. He began to kiss and caress each finger, whispering, "My dear Rachel, how happy I am to see you, to breathe your scent. We were such fools to break up back then. You ask what happened to me? 2 weeks ago. A gang of ruffians attacked me and sprayed pepper spray on my face. Now I'm almost blind. I can only see blurry silhouettes. The doctors say I need an operation, but that's not important. Carol told me you have a son, Adam. Rachel, tell me, is he mine? Tell me the truth. Do I have a son?" Rachel sighed deeply and answered softly, "Yes, Craig. Adam is your son. I've never been with any other man except you. No matter how hard I try to forget you, to get you out of my head, I can't. But they took my little boy from me. My heart is breaking. I can hardly sleep. I just sit and wait outside the orphanage, hoping he'll wave to me from the window. What did I do to deserve this? I've never harmed anyone. I hate that lecherous goat who has ruined my life. He's paid everyone off just to hurt me." I'm so desperate that I'm about to agree to his terms just to get my son back." "There's no other way." Craig squeezed her hand tightly and almost shouted, "No, don't even think about it. I'll help you get your boy back. Give me all his information and yours too. I'll find the right people, hire the best lawyers, and together we'll bring down that wretch. I have connections in the police department. Remember Henry Black? You won't believe it, but he's now a police captain. Don't worry, I'll get Adam back. I won't let my son wander through orphanages. Trust me, Rachel, everything will be fine." They said their warm goodbyes, and for the first time in a long while, Rachel felt a glimmer of hope. Craig immediately called Henry, who quickly agreed to his old friend's request. They devised a plan to carry out the operation. Rachel had to call the director, pretend to agree to his terms, and set up a meeting. They gave her a microphone, and her task was to make the director confess to everything, so he could be caught. Though distressed, Rachel was ready to do anything for her son. She took a deep breath and resolutely dialed the director's number. He answered with a smug tone, "So you finally agreed, stubborn girl, or why are you calling?" Inside, Rachel's anger boiled, but she replied as gently as possible, "Edward, I beg you, give me back my son. I agree to anything. Let's meet." "Tell me where and when." He smirked. "Well, let's meet tomorrow at 6 in the evening in my office. There's also a comfortable couch for our discussions. I'm waiting for you, my sweet little bird." The next day, Rachel and Craig prepared meticulously. Henry and his team set up everything for the operation. As the clock ticked closer to 6, Rachel's heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination. She arrived at the director's office, every step heavy with the weight of her mission. The door creaked open, and Edward greeted her with a sly smile. "Come in, Rachel. Have a seat," he said, gesturing to the couch. Rachel forced a smile, her stomach churning. She needed to stay calm and get him to talk. "So Rachel," Edward began, his tone dripping with false kindness, "you're finally ready to do whatever it takes to get your son back." Rachel nodded, trying to keep her voice steady. "Yes, Edward, I'll do anything. Just tell me what you want." He leaned closer, his breath hot and foul. "I want you, Rachel. I want you to be mine, completely. In return, I'll give you your son back. But you have to prove your loyalty first." Rachel's skin crawled, but she kept her composure. "All right, Edward, I'll do as you say. But first, I need to know why you did this to me. Why did you take my son away?" Edward laughed, a cruel, hollow sound. "Because I could. Because I wanted to see you suffer. And because I knew it would break you, make you desperate enough to come crawling to me." Rachel felt sick to her core, but she had to keep him talking. "You're right, Edward. You've broken me. But I'm here now, willing to do whatever it takes. Just promise me I'll get my son back." Edward grinned, sensing victory. "Oh, you'll get him back. But first we need to seal our deal. Come closer, Rachel." At that moment, Henry and his team burst in, guns drawn. "Police." "Freeze!" Edward's face twisted in shock and rage. "You set me up," he screamed. Rachel stepped back, relief washing over her. "Yes, Edward, and now you'll pay for everything you've done." The officers quickly subdued Edward, handcuffing him and reading him his rights. Henry approached Rachel, a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You did great, Rachel. We'll get your son back to you. I promise." Craig, who had been anxiously waiting outside, rushed in. He embraced Rachel tightly, his eyes filled with gratitude and love. "Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for everything." Rachel clung to him, tears of relief streaming down her face. "We did it, Craig. We did it." As they walked out of the office, the weight of the past began to lift. They had faced their demons and fought for what mattered most, and now a brighter future awaited them. Craig's heart swelled with hope and determination. He knew that together they could overcome anything. As they stood there, holding each other, Craig realized that the love they had once lost had been found again, stronger and more resilient than ever before. Rachel's stomach churned with an overwhelming sense of disgust at the man's vile and lecherous words, but she summoned every ounce of her strength to pull herself together. She knew what was at stake and dressed as provocatively as her conservative upbringing would allow a blouse with a plunging neckline that felt foreign against her skin, a form-fitting pencil skirt that hugged her curves uncomfortably, and towering high heels that made her feel vulnerable yet determined. She meticulously reapplied a bold layer of lipstick to her already full lips, each stroke a reminder of the role she had to play. Ensuring the hidden recording device was securely in place, she took a deep breath, steadying her nerves despite the tremors in her legs, and made her way to the director's office. The detective had instructed her to open the window if things spiraled out of control, a small gesture that would signal the need for immediate intervention. With her heart pounding in her chest, she knocked on the heavy door and stepped inside, her resolve hardening with each step. The director lounged in his oversized chair, his eyes gleaming with a predatory hunger that made her skin crawl. His gaze roved over Rachel's figure with a disturbing intensity, taking in every detail of her carefully chosen attire. "Good evening, my little bird," he greeted her with a sickeningly sweet tone, his voice dripping with false charm. "It seems the situation has done wonders for you, making you more forthcoming. Well done. It's been quite some time. Oh, what a delectable figure you have. I'm on fire. Now, go ahead, take off." Rachel's mind raced, every fiber of her being screaming to flee, yet she stood her ground, her eyes narrowing with determination. She had to endure this, had to capture every incriminating word and action. The weight of the recording device felt heavier now, a lifeline and a burden all at once. As the director continued to leer, Rachel forced herself to smile, a brittle, calculated expression that masked the turmoil within. She knew the detective was counting on her, and she couldn't let fear win. With each second that passed, Rachel's resolve grew stronger. She would see this through, no matter the cost, to bring justice to those who had suffered at the hands of this despicable man. Her heart pounded in her chest, not just from fear, but from a fierce determination to expose the truth and make sure the director faced the consequences of his actions. Rachel's heart pounded as Edward's chilling demand cut through the air. His brazen audacity was nearly suffocating, leaving her immobilized with fear. The icy grip of terror clenched at her chest as she wondered what horrors might await her. What if he decided to assault her? The thought of Adam and the operatives stationed outside offered a sliver of solace, lending her the strength to face the situation. Determined to buy time, she began to slowly arrange the champagne and confections, her hands trembling. "Edward, must we rush this? I can't proceed under such duress. Let's enjoy a drink and unwind first," she said, attempting to mask her fear with feigned calm. Edward, indifferent to her pleas, uncorked the champagne with a smug grin and poured the bubbly liquid into glasses. Rachel's anxiety intensified as she braced herself for the confrontation ahead. "Edward, before we proceed, I need your solemn promise that you will return my son to me." Can you guarantee that her voice wavered with desperation? "You are clearly behind this debacle, but I still cannot fathom how you managed to orchestrate such a catastrophic breach. How did you sully my reputation so thoroughly?" Edward's smile widened maliciously. "Had you been more accommodating from the outset, none of this would have transpired. No one dares to defy me. Consider this my secretary and the physical education instructor, whom you so disparage, are now thriving with handsome salaries and bonuses thanks to their wit. As for your predicament, it's quite straightforward. My esteemed friend, who holds a significant position within the guardianship authorities, was rewarded through my influence. She repaid me by placing my son in an orphanage. To add insult to injury, I orchestrated a scene with hired thugs and planted witnesses to create chaos in your home. In this world, money is a powerful tool, believe me. I was once taken with you, and if you please me, your son will be returned to you swiftly. Are you at ease now? Disrobe. Your incessant talking is tiresome. Rachel's resolve hardened as she realized there was no more time to waste. Feigning the act of unbuttoning her blouse, she moved purposefully towards the window, throwing it open with urgency. As she began to pray fervently and waited for the arrival of the police, Edward's demeanor shifted from menacing to aggressively intrusive. With a disturbing agility for his age, he lunged at her, his hands violating her personal space and tearing at her blouse. Rachel's screams echoed through the room as she struggled against his advances, her repulsion growing with every touch. Edward's frustration erupted as he shoved her forcefully, sending everything crashing to the floor. Be quiet, you fool. There's no one here to help you, not even the janitor. Why do you resist? Have you lost your senses? In a dramatic and thunderous upheaval, the frail door of the office was violently hurled open, and the operative stormed into the room. With swift and decisive action, he apprehended the vile perpetrator and chastised him with righteous indignation. How dare you engage in such revolting behavior at your age? You're a married man with grandchildren who will one day learn of your disgraceful actions. Have you no shame? The director, enraged and desperate, fought against his restraints, his curses mingling with threats. You manipulated me. You'll regret this. I have powerful connections, you know. The officer, unfazed by the director's bluster, silenced him with authoritative firmness. We'll address your connections in due time. For now, explain how you managed to abduct this woman's child and cover your tracks so thoroughly. Rachel, overwhelmed by a torrent of relief and exhaustion, finally allowed herself to collapse into tears. Will they bring Adam back to me now? He confessed everything, didn't he? Did I handle everything correctly? She handed the officer a recording device, her hands shaking. The officer offered a comforting smile. We'll resolve this matter. Your reunion with your son is imminent, so try not to worry. And rest assured, this villain will face justice. Such people deserve to be locked away. The scandal erupted across the headlines, exposing the abhorrent behavior of the once respected director, who was subsequently convicted. The community's outrage was palpable, fueled by the revelation that he had held a position of trust for so long. Rachel's reputation was restored, and her job was reinstated. Most poignantly, she was finally reunited with her son. The emotional reunion was filled with tears and tender kisses as mother and child clung to each other, their bond reaffirmed in a moment of pure, unrestrained love. Meanwhile, Craig, absorbed by the turmoil surrounding Rachel, had lost sight of his own tumultuous domestic life. Diana, observing the whirlwind of emotions and unrelenting phone calls about Rachel and her son, could no longer contain her mounting frustration. Darling, what on earth is happening? You're always preoccupied and consumed with calls and discussions about Rachel and her son. Can you explain what's going on? Although Craig couldn't see Diana's twisted, angry expression, the hostility radiating from her was palpable. In that instant, he recognized his disillusionment. It was clear that their relationship was irrevocably fractured. Diana's increasingly audacious behavior, her attempts to dominate his home and impose her will had only deepened his discontent. Craig sighed heavily, bracing himself for the difficult conversation ahead. You're right, Diana. We've needed to have a serious talk for some time now. To answer your question, Rachel is my first and enduring love. We met and fell in love at music school, but we parted ways. Unbeknownst to us at the time, she was pregnant. She gave birth to a son named Adam. So, in reality, I have 2 children, Lisa, my daughter, and Adam. Diana's reaction was explosive. Wonderful. Are you telling me that in addition to your spoiled daughter, I'll also have to deal with a boy? This is unacceptable. I don't even want children of my own yet. And now you're thrusting someone else's child into our lives. Craig's smile was bitter. You failed to listen, Diana. Our whirlwind romance was so intense that I barely understood what was happening. But the fervor quickly waned, and now, 2 years later, We're practically strangers. Your discord with Lisa is evident. And it seems you'll never connect with her. When I reunited with Rachel after all these years, I realized my feelings for her remained as strong as they were in my youth. I know this is painful for you to hear, but I can't lie. Tomorrow, I'll discuss eye surgery with the doctor, and after that, we'll likely need to part ways. Don't worry, I'll ensure you keep the apartment in the residential area and the car I gave you. Beyond that, you'll need to find your way and live independently like everyone else. Diana leaped to her feet and screamed in a voice filled with rage and desperation. What an outrageous statement. As your wife, half of everything you own, all your property and business, rightfully belongs to me. I will take everything that is mine. You ungrateful man. I've endured living with you for 2 agonizing years, putting up with your unbearable daughter. The least you could do is show some gratitude. But let me make this clear. I won't be living with you anymore. I refuse to carry another burden. I'm only 25 years old, with my whole life ahead of me. I want to have fun, enjoy life, not be tied down taking care of someone else's child and a blind husband. Craig could no longer contain his frustration and heartbreak. So that's how you truly feel. When I was healthy, showering you with gifts, buying you gold, and being a good husband, I was enough for you. But now that I'm disabled, I'm no longer good enough. Fine, we can end this right now. I won't keep you here any longer. Diana realized she had gone too far and quickly tried to change her approach. Honey, wait. Let's calm down. We both got angry and said things we didn't mean. Let's wait until you get better and recover before we have this unpleasant conversation, okay? Great, don't rush into surgery. The doctor said a month, not earlier. Otherwise, God forbid, there may be complications. Come here, let me kiss you, but her words sounded insincere and fake, dripping with manipulation. Craig pushed her away and replied sharply, as you wish. I've said everything I needed to. Sorry, but I need to listen to the recording of the meeting sent by my deputy. Diana stormed out of the office, seething with anger. Oh, you miserable invalid. He leaves me an apartment, but what am I supposed to live on? Work? God forbid, I'm not meant for this. Just wait, I'll make sure you remember me. Craig, uninterested in her theatrics, decided to consult with the professor. Rachel, offering her support as a friend, accompanied him, which touched him deeply. Meanwhile, Carol and Lisa were occupied with their after-school activities of drawing and sculpting. When they finally returned home, they were met with a horrifying sight. The house was in complete disarray. The safe was open and empty, and many expensive items and pieces of technology were missing. Carol, terrified, immediately called the police and Craig. Daddy, it's an emergency. Lisa and I just got home, and everything is turned upside down. We've been robbed. The safe is open, the TV is gone, and there are important documents on your shelf. Maybe even more things are missing. I've called the police. Please come quickly. Craig instructed Carol, okay, go with Lisa to the children's room, lock yourselves in, and don't open the door for anyone until I get there. I'll be there soon. Forgetting his illness, Craig turned on the camera recording and was horrified by what he saw. Diana and the driver, Tim, were ransacking the house, grabbing everything they could: electronics, jewelry, money, and valuable papers. Diana had no idea there were cameras, so she angrily shouted, "There you go, hubby. You'll remember me yet." Tim responded with equal anger, "What a lucky wretch. We couldn't finish him off back then, only blinded him. Otherwise, we would have sent Lisa to a shelter and lived here like kings. And where did that patron come from? They never passed by there before." Diana shouted at Tim to hurry up since the nanny and Lisa would be back any minute. They needed to sell everything quickly and order tickets to a warm place. Craig was in shock. The police quickly arrived, took fingerprints, and rushed to apprehend the couple of lovers. Craig's daughter hugged him tightly, trying to comfort him. "Daddy, I told you a long time ago that Diana doesn't love us. She's mean and bad, and you didn't believe me. "You'll kick her out now, won't you?" Craig kissed his princess gently. "You are growing up so fast." "Yes, Diana won't be living with us anymore. But I want to introduce you to a nice woman. Remember when she came to visit us once? Her name is Rachel, and she has a son, Adam. He's your brother. It's a long story. You'll understand when you're older. I hope you two get along, and Diana and Tim will be punished by the police and sent to prison." His daughter suddenly asked anxiously, "Daddy, what did the doctor say? Will your eyes be able to see again?" Craig reassured her, "I'm going for surgery on Monday. You and Carol will be together all the time, and Adam will be with you too. His mother will go with me to the hospital. Please listen to Carol and everything, and be a good girl." The police quickly tracked down Diana and Tim to Tim's apartment, arrested them, and took them to the police station. Now, both of them faced serious charges for attempting to harm Craig and stealing from him. Diana was engulfed in a maelstrom of sheer terror. The bleak, damp walls of the government facility closed in on her. The sight of the filthy mattress and the taste of the dreadful gruel filled her with an overwhelming sense of dread and despair. Each passing moment felt like an eternity in a nightmare. It was only now, in the cold, harsh reality of her confinement, that the gravity of her situation fully dawned on her. She wept incessantly, her heart heavy with regret and self-reproach. "What a fool I was," she lamented, her voice echoing off the grimy walls. "Why didn't I just lead a peaceful life? What have I done, getting mixed up with Tim? How could I have been so blind?" Desperation clawed at her, and she realized she must see Craig immediately and beg for forgiveness. "He's kind," she whispered to herself, clinging to a shred of hope. "He'll understand. I'll leave this city, go anywhere but this prison. I'll start over, far away from here." Meanwhile, Craig's life was taking a different turn. Consumed by his impending surgery, he delegated the divorce proceedings to his lawyer, distancing himself from the emotional turmoil. Rachel, ever steadfast, stood by his side, offering unwavering support. At home, Carol took care of the children, providing a semblance of normalcy amidst the chaos. Adam, initially shy and reserved, gradually warmed up to the energetic and spirited Lisa, whose lively nature was infectious. Within a day, Adam felt at home in the Appletons' house, finding solace in their warmth and kindness. After school, they made it a routine to visit Craig in the hospital, their presence a source of comfort for him. The surgery went well, and the moment of truth was nearing as the day for removing Craig's bandages approached. Anticipation and anxiety filled everyone as they awaited this pivotal moment. During these trying times, Craig, Rachel, Carol, and the children formed a close-knit, supportive family unit. Lisa and Adam, aware of their father's condition, behaved impeccably, enjoying the fun and engaging times with Carol. Finally, the moment arrived. Craig's bandages were removed, and as the bright light hit his eyes, he instinctively shut them tight. Tears of relief and joy streamed down his face as he slowly opened his eyes, seeing the world clearly for the first time since the tragedy. The surgery, a beacon of hope, was a success. The day finally arrived to remove Craig's bandages, a moment fraught with anticipation and anxiety. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the outcome. During these challenging times, Craig, Rachel, Carol, and the children forged an unbreakable bond, becoming a close-knit, supportive family. Lisa and Adam, acutely aware of their father's condition, did their best to behave impeccably, finding joy in the moments spent with Carol. The tension in the air was palpable as the bandages were carefully removed from Craig's eyes. As the bright light hit his eyes, he instinctively shut them, tears of relief and joy streaming down his face. Slowly, he began to open them, and for the first time since the tragedy, he saw the world once again. The doctor, pleased with Craig's progress, gave the green light for his discharge. As Craig stepped out of the office, a broad smile lighting up his face, he saw Rachel waiting for him. Overcome with emotion, he exclaimed, "My love, you haven't changed a bit over the years. You're even more beautiful, those same lips, curls, long eyelashes, and that lock of hair tucked behind your ear. Rachel, you are stunning. Finally, I can admire you every moment and see my son. Thanks to Carol, I owe her forever for playing our song on the piano. It moved something deep within me. You wrote that piece, Rachel. How joyous I am that you are back in my life. I'm ready to leave the business behind. It's been a burden. We've earned enough to live comfortably for years. Let's live in love and peace, cherishing each other and our beloved music. Will you agree to that? Rachel, tears of joy streaming down her face, embraced Craig. You're my little fool. These are the words I've longed to hear. I was heartbroken when you chose money and business over our love and music. Of course, I agree. I still love you. Do you remember our first kiss? You played the Moonlight Sonata. And we spent the night searching for the Big Dipper and kissing passionately. You wrapped me in your jacket, shielding me from the rain. I was the happiest then. Believe me, let's go home. Everyone is waiting for us. Seeing her father walk confidently from the car, Lisa realized he could see and ran to him. Hooray, Daddy, you're better. I'm so happy. Come quickly. We baked a cake for you. Adam and I helped Carol. Adam stood shyly, hesitant to approach. They hadn't had a proper conversation yet. Craig told Lisa to run inside and approached Adam. Hello, son. Finally, I can see you. We look alike, those ears and that smile. Did your mom tell you I'm your dad? I'm sorry I missed 9 years of your life. But now that we're together, let me be a real father to you. I love you, son. I will never hurt you and will always support you. He extended his hand, and Adam shook it firmly, saying softly, I'm glad you're here, Dad. Mom smiling again, Craig hugged Adam tightly. Now we'll all live together as a big family. You've made peace with Lisa. She's your little sister, so support each other. Let's go have lunch. Craig walked out of the doctor's office with a newfound joy and relief. His broad smile lit up the hallway as he saw Rachel waiting for him. Overwhelmed with emotion, he rushed to her, exclaiming, My love, you haven't changed a bit over the years. You're even more beautiful, those same lips, curls, long eyelashes, and that lock of hair tucked behind your ear. Rachel, you are stunning. Finally, I can admire you every moment and see my son. Thanks to Carol, I owe her forever for playing our song on the piano. It moved something deep within me. You wrote that piece, Rachel. How joyous I am that you are back in my life. I'm ready to leave the business behind. It's been a burden. We've earned enough to live comfortably for years. Let's live in love and peace, cherishing each other and our beloved music. Will you agree to that? Rachel, her face wet with tears of joy, embraced Craig tightly. You're my little fool. These are the words I've longed to hear for so long. I was heartbroken when you chose money and business over our love and our shared passion for music. Of course, I agree. I still love you. Do you remember our first kiss? You played the Moonlight Sonata for me. And we spent the night gazing at the stars, searching for the Big Dipper and kissing under the sky. You wrapped me in your jacket, shielding me from the rain. And at that moment, I was the happiest person alive. Can you believe it? Let's go home. Everyone is waiting for us. As Lisa saw her father confidently step out of the car, she realized that he could see again. Overjoyed, she ran towards him, shouting, Hooray, Daddy, you're better. I'm so happy. Come quickly, we baked a cake for you. Adam and I helped Carol. Adam stood shyly on the sidelines, hesitant to approach. They hadn't had a proper conversation yet. Craig told Lisa to run inside and approached Adam himself. Hello, son. Finally, I can see you. We look alike, those ears and that smile. Did your mom tell you I'm your dad? I'm so sorry I missed 9 years of your life. But now that we're together, let me be a real father to you. I love you, son. I will never hurt you and will always support you. He extended his hand, and Adam shook it firmly, saying softly, I'm glad you're here, Dad. Mom smiling again, Craig hugged Adam tightly. Now we'll all live together as a big family. You've made peace with Lisa. She's your little sister, so support each other. Let's go have lunch. Craig walked out of the doctor's office with a newfound joy and relief. His broad smile lit up the hallway as he saw Rachel waiting for him. Overwhelmed with emotion, he rushed to her, exclaiming, "My love, you haven't changed a bit over the years. You're even more beautiful, those same lips, curls, long eyelashes, and that lock of hair tucked behind your ear. Rachel, you are stunning. Finally, I can admire you every moment and see my son. Thanks to Carol, I owe her forever for playing our song on the piano. It moved something deep within me. You wrote that piece, Rachel. How joyous I am that you are back in my life. I'm ready to leave the business behind. It's been a burden. We've earned enough to live comfortably for years. Let's live in love and peace, cherishing each other and our beloved music. Will you agree to that?" Rachel, her face wet with tears of joy, embraced Craig tightly. "You're my little fool. These are the words I've longed to hear for so long. I was heartbroken when you chose money and business over our love and our shared passion for music. Of course I agree. I still love you. Do you remember our first kiss? You played the Moonlight Sonata for me. And we spent the night gazing at the stars, searching for the Big Dipper and kissing under the sky. You wrapped me in your jacket, shielding me from the rain, and at that moment, I was the happiest person alive. Can you believe it? Let's go home. Everyone is waiting for us." As Lisa saw her father confidently step out of the car, she realized that he could see again. Overjoyed, she ran towards him, shouting, "Hooray, Daddy! You're better. I'm so happy. Come quickly, we baked a cake for you." Adam and I helped Carol. Adam stood shyly on the sidelines, hesitant to approach. They hadn't had a proper conversation yet. Craig told Lisa to run inside and approached Adam himself. "Hello, son. Finally, I can see you. We look alike, those ears and that smile. Did your mom tell you I'm your dad? I'm so sorry I missed 9 years of your life. But now that we're together, let me be a real father to you. I love you, son. I will never hurt you and will always support you." He extended his hand, and Adam shook it firmly, saying softly, "I'm glad you're here, Dad." Mom smiling again, Craig hugged Adam tightly. "Now we'll all live together as a big family. You've made peace with Lisa. She's your little sister, so support each other. Let's go have lunch." From that day forward, Craig Appleton's life underwent a profound transformation. The wealthy businessman became an entirely new person. Unexpectedly for everyone, he sold his prosperous business, choosing instead to immerse himself fully in his family and music. Every morning, with immense pleasure, he would approach the piano, his fingers dancing over the keys as he played his favorite, long-forgotten melodies. He even dusted off an old music notebook, rekindling a passion that had lain dormant for years. Rachel became his tutor, and she also began teaching the children. It was a perfect arrangement, as both Rachel and Craig possessed extraordinary natural talent. Emboldened by their shared dream, they decided to take a risk and opened their private music school. The couple married quietly, shunning any public attention. They were too busy, too engrossed in their shared dreams and mutual admiration to care about anything else. For the first time, Craig realized that he had been living someone else's life for years. He had chosen the wrong job, the wrong partner, and had been carrying a heavy burden out of inertia. The only thing he didn't regret was his daughter, Lisa, who had been his sunshine and his motivation to keep going all this time. Rachel quickly bonded with Lisa, her gentle nature and love for children making her an instant favorite. She worked at a school, which only deepened her connection with Lisa. Carol, who had feared she might lose her job, was quickly reassured by Craig and Rachel. "Don't worry, Carol," they said. "Stay with us. You're family now, and the children need you." With just Lisa, the house was never dull, and now with 2 little ones, it's even livelier. While all this was happening, Diana remained in pretrial detention, fervently praying for a chance to meet with Craig. He, however, deliberately delayed the meeting, wanting to teach her a lesson she would never forget. The confinement took its toll on Diana. She became thin, her skin lifeless and pallid. The mere thought of spending years in such conditions filled her with nausea and despair. When she finally learned that Craig was ready to meet her, she nearly leaped for joy. When Diana, now gaunt and disheveled in a crumpled tracksuit, her hair greasy and tied in a messy bun, entered the booth for their meeting, Craig flinched. The transformation was startling. Gone was the confident, brazen woman he once knew. Instead, a broken, remorseful figure stood before him, tears streaming down her face. "Forgive me, Craig," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "I'm to blame, I know that now. I have nothing left. Please withdraw the charges. I don't want to go to prison. I'm dying in here. I promise I'll leave and go to my mother's. You'll never see me again. Please have mercy." Craig's voice was cold as he replied, "I hope this time in jail has taught you a valuable lesson. You won't steal from those who feed you anymore, nor will you try to kill your next husband. That plan failed. My vision has fully recovered, and I see things now. Just so you know. Lisa is a wonderful child. She gets along well with Carol, Rachel, and her little brother, Adam. The problem was never with her, it was always with you. You are a selfish, calculating person who thinks only of herself. I'll withdraw the charges, but if you ever come near us again, you will end up back in jail. I've kept the camera recordings as proof." Diana, tears of relief mingling with her despair, whispered a quiet, "Thank you." Life for the Appleton family settled into a blissful routine. Their music school thrived, drawing students from all over the city. Lisa and Adam, too, found their musical paths, with Adam choosing the guitar and drums, and Lisa remaining faithful to the piano. Rachel often composed her melodies, while Craig wrote poetry, leading to family songs that they all loved singing together. Craig's life, once void of true meaning, was now rich with purpose and joy. He had found the happiness he had always dreamed of, surrounded by love, music, and the family he cherished. And so, Craig Appleton's journey of transformation and redemption came full circle. From the bustling life of a wealthy businessman to finding true happiness and fulfillment through family and music, Craig's story teaches us the importance of following our true passions and cherishing our loved ones. His struggles and triumphs remind us that it's never too late to change our path, and that true contentment comes from within. What have you learned from Craig's story? Has his journey inspired you to make changes in your own life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below on one thing you have learned and will bring to practice in your life. If you liked this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.